Now, I've been wanting to update this deck file ever since I got the new support in Mavens, and it's a pretty good support in the form of linkage. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First, I run the 3 Skystriker Ace Ray. Ray's the main monster of this deck, or one of the few main deck monsters, although it did recently get some new main deck monsters in Hamp and Aileron, which I do not run. Also run 1 Rose. Now, we really only need to run 1 copy of Rose, because with the new linkage cards, Rose really isn't as important, because Rose and linkage are almost the exact same thing, just one's in spell form. Also run 3 Ash, and 2 Ogre for hand traps. Also run 3 Iron Burn Bed, you'll see that later. And I also run a DPE package. If you have Bestials, I'd definitely run that over the DPE package, because it's definitely much more reliable, but I do not have Bestials, so I can't really run that. So right now I'm just running the DPE package as kind of like a fill-in for Bestials. But if you have Bestials, I'd definitely go with that over the DPE package. Moving on to spells, and we run a lot, but it's Sky Striker, so that kind of makes sense. Of course, I run the 1 Engage, the obvious search card, then draw 1. I also run 3 copies of Linkage. If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you can send one. You can send 1 card you control to the graveyard, and if you do, spell summon 1 Sky Striker Ace monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. And if you have at least 1 light and 1 dark Sky Striker Ace monster on the field and/or in your graveyard, the summon monster gains 1,000 attack. So basically, if you have Rose and Ray in the graveyard, which doesn't really come too often, you may just want to get your plays to start going. Also run the 3 Sky Striker Widow Anchors. Widow Anchors, you control monsters, you may have monster zone, which is basically the downside for basically all the Sky Striker cards, but with how the deck's built, it's not really much of a downside. Target face effect monster on the field, you get the effects, or if you have 3 spells in your graveyard, take control of it. This is one of your main disruptions. Also run 2 Area 0 and the 1 Terraforming. Area 0, you can activate the target 1 card control, activate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you reveal a Sky Striker monster or Sky Striker card, you can add to your hand, then destroy the card that the set card that you targeted. But if you don't, nothing happens. And it has a cool additional effect to when it leaves the field, or if it's destroyed, you can special summon a Sky Striker Ray from your deck. Also run the 1 Multi-Roll. Multi-Roll has a cool effect to where you target 1 card you control, send that card to the graveyard, and if you're probably going to activate cards or effects in response to that spell card activation for the rest of the turn. So basically, your opponent will be able to respond to your Sky Striker spells. And it has a cool additional effect to where basically during the end phase, you set Sky Striker cards or Sky Striker spells with different names from your graveyard up to the number of Sky Striker spells you activated this turn while this card was face up on your field. Banish them when they leave this field. So it basically gives you multiple uses out of all your Sky Striker spells. Also run 1 Hornet Drones. It's a token generator for Sky Strikers. Basically, like if you don't have Linkage or a Sky Striker main deck monster, you definitely want to at least have Hornet Drones. So with the 3 Ray, the 1 Rose, the 3 Linkage, and the 1 Hornet Drones, you're more or less always going to have a way to get into your link plays. Also run the 1 Shark Cannon. Shark Cannon is definitely really good, especially against tier elements, because target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you have 3, special tier your field. So if you are going first and you have this set and you're going against tier elements, whenever they activate a tier element monster to shuffle back into the deck to fusion summon, you can change this in response to make it just fizzle out. Also run Afterburners, which is a monster pop, and if you have 3 spells in your graveyard, then you can pop a spell trap as well. Of course, also run the 3 Fusion Destiny. Also run 3 Triple Tactics Talents. You know, either draw 2 cards, rip a card out of your opponent's hand, or change of heart or your opponent's monsters. Really depends on what the board state is depending on what you want to go for. You don't really need to draw for cards. You can go for the other 2, but most likely you're going to use the Pot of Greed effect. Now next is something that I'm surprised a lot of people don't run more of. And that is 3 Raigeki. Like, a lot of people are running cards like Lightning Storm or stuff like that. And, well, yes, I can see the advantage to something like Lightning Storm. Raigeki also offered Stone advantage. 1, it's not once per turn. And 2, there's not a whole lot of Omni Negate in the format right now. Most of it's Monster Negate, you know. Like, what Omni Negates are currently being played? I can't really think of any. Did I think of Apollosa? Nope, that's Monster. Dragon Stapelia? Nope, that's also Monsters. Jishao? That's also monsters. So most negation is for monsters, not really so much spells and traps. So with Raigeki, you can basically just blow up your opponent's boards most of the time. Or if anything, it's going to force out one of those Omni negates. So there's not really much of a negative for it. And considering most of the times you're probably going to be going second, this is a deck that can play going first as well as play going second. It really just depends on what you want to do. I feel like with this build, you can go really either or, but going second, you definitely want to have the Raigeki. Also run the one Rhoda, Raise a Warrior, the one Pot of Avarice. This is one of the few decks to where turn one, you can basically just activate Pot of Avarice very easy. Not all the time, but most of the time. As well as Call by the Great, because you don't want to get hand trapped. Moving on to the traps, I run the 3 Emperor. Now for the extra deck, I run 3 Sky Striker, Ace, Shizuku. Now each of the extra deck Sky Striker monsters can only be summoned once per turn, and each of them have different effects. For Shizuku, during the end phase, you can add a Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand. Hayate can attack directly, and then you can foolish a Sky Striker card. And Kagari can add a Sky Striker card from your graveyard to your hand. Or spell, there's spells. You add, send, add spells. And Shizuku will lower your opponent monster's attacks by 100 for each spell you control, and Kagari gains 100 attack for each spell in your graveyard. Also run the one Kinda comes up occasionally, but that's only when you have Ray in the grave and they destroy. Let's say you got Shizuku on the field and Ray in the grave. They destroy Shizuku. You go into Ray, quick effect into Kinda. Now I run 2 copies of Zeke, more or less, because with the Widow Anchor, basically they control opponent's monster, and then you can just link into Zeke. So Zeke is a good card to combine with Widow Anchor, or if you want to use the Change of Heart effect of Triple Tactics Talents. Also run the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Isis Kotak to kind of help round the games out. And of course, the 1 Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. Phoenix Enforcer works really good in this deck because, well, yes, the Sky Striker spells do not work if you control a monster in the main monster zone. But you just use Enforcer's effect to destroy itself and 1 card your opponent controls, and then your Sky Striker spells are back up again. Let me know what you think of Sky Strikers. You think it's a really good deck? Think it's got a tier 1 potential? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.